Getting set to talk now to David Yost, the original Blue Power Ranger, Billy from the Power Rangers. As the 4th annual Hall of Fame City Comic Con coming into Canton on Saturday, and you're obviously going to be here signing autographs and the like, I got to imagine the first natural question I have for you, David, is that when you got involved with the Power Rangers back in the 90s, there's no way you saw 20-some years down the road, this is still part of your professional life. There's no way you saw it as being something like that, right?
Never in a million years would I think anybody in the original cast have been able to predict the phenomenon that Power Rangers has become, obviously not only in the United States, but around the world. It's pretty It's humbling and pretty crazy in a good way.
David, why do you think that Power Rangers as a brand, I mean, not just the original lineup like, you were a part of, which is so iconic to so many people, but, I mean, all the different shows that came out and obviously all the merchandise and even the most recent movie, there's just something special about it that speaks to a lot of people. What do you think that something is?
Well, I mean, I can only speak from the original from the original cast, whatever. And I think back then we had amazing chemistry together as actors and our characters. And I think so much we brought so much that kids could relate to, and we had so many of the elements that kids like. We had dinosaurs, we wore bright colors, we were a group of diverse, ethnically diverse friends that all got along and protected each other and stood by each other, and we cared about the world that we lived in. So I know without maybe purposely doing it, we instilled values in people, and I think that's what attracted so many kids to it. And, everybody wants to be a superhero, so they got that element.
As a non-habitual viewer of the Power Rangers, David, I would have to say here that I think you're a little bit right. Obviously, the diversity is part of the cast and all that, and I think a lot of programming that's geared towards a younger viewer is sometimes all about making them feel normal inside their differences from the person standing next to them. And you brought it up. Did you feel like that was something that you wanted to be doing through it? Because nowadays, people get accused of doing that in everything, even when maybe they aren't. Was that something you felt like was important to be doing early on?
I mean, I certainly thought that it was important to be doing it, and we were doing it way back in the 90s.
Right.
And it still seems like Hollywood is just now catching up these 20-some years later to including casts that are from such different backgrounds. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy in my head to think, back in 1993 when our show started airing, we were representing as many people as we could that were considered Americans. And, it's crazy that our country is still sort of struggling to get there. And I think it is important still, obviously, in this day and age to show such diverse casts.
Yeah, the Power Rangers certainly embraced that. There was no question about it. And
sure.
I'm sure there was, some good things that were
Strong
happening
female
there.
lead even.
But one of the things that you always kind of think about when you think of kids shows and you kind of, look back on things is you wonder what was happening behind the scenes. Was there partying? Was stuff like that going on? Give us some sort of stories, David. What was happening behind those cameras?
A lot of work. So, we were a kid show. We were like brothers and sisters. We all got along. There's no salacial stories that
drugs,
I think that I can share with you. Other than I can only share what happened to me. There was one time I got in a bar fight and I had my nose broken, and that kind of affected how they had to shoot scenes for me because I had to let my nose sit for a week and then have it rebroken. So there was maybe 4 episodes where you never would see me with a close-up because I had a broken nose.
As we're talking to David Yost, the original Blue Power Ranger, and he's just dropped the bombshell on us that he got into a bar fight while filming, I got to ask, because thus far into the interview, you've been nothing but pleasant. What drove somebody to punch David Yost in the nose? What happened there?
It was just an unfortunate situation. I was on a dance floor, and I bumped into the wrong girl. Wrong girl dancing, and she said something to her boyfriend, and her boyfriend sucker punched me in the face and broke my nose. And that was it. And from that moment on, I decided I'll never drink alcohol again because I couldn't, really defend myself because I was a little bit not all the way there.
Oh,
blackout drunk over
now
there.
I see what's happening. Yeah, it turns out the fights work better when the writers' room gets involved and decides who wins there.
Exactly.
Now, on that note, were you doing your own stunts? Like how much when it comes to martial arts? Like what experience do you have there?
Well, I was never a martial artist. I was a competitive gymnast most of my life, so I brought that skill set to the show, as well as Amy Jo Johnson, who played the Pink Ranger, and Jason David Frank, Austin St. John, Twee Trang. They were all martial artists, and Walter Jones was a dancer. So we all, had certain skill sets, and then when we were cast, at least for Amy Jo and I, they taught us what we call television martial arts, and we spent a good month just like going over fight choreography, so we could understand how to fight for camera. And for the most part, whenever you see us outside of costume, just as our civilian selves, as we say, that's always us doing our own stunts. And then when we morph into costume, the first season was definitely Japanese footage for the most part. We would have to do what we call interstitial shots, where we would film a little bit here in the U.S. to sort of cut it together to make it look more seamless. And then as the series progressed and we had to do more and more episodes, we started filming all of the fight scenes in the United States. So, but I would say the majority of the time that you see us in costume with our helmet on, it was always a stunt double, and we had an amazing stunt team.
Yeah, that would make sense. You don't normally want your actors in harm's way and then not be able to film. So we'll have to keep you out of bar fights for any future projects you might have there, David.
I'm kind of regretting that I told that story.
Yeah, you're a little rowdy.
That story.
Yeah, let your hair down. A little rowdy.
Interview.
As you will be in town Saturday for the Hall of Fame City Comic-Con, do you have in front of you when you're available on site, as people will be excited to see you? Are you there all day? Are you there part of the day, or what's the plan?
I should be there all day. I believe I'm there from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah, wow.
Very, very happy to be there. I'm there signing autographs, taking pictures. I know I have a question and answer panel at one point during the day.
That's awesome.
I'm not sure of the exact time. So
I am
that's
sure
always
of that
fun.
exact
you
time.
can ask me
Whoa,
anything.
we found it.
I am sure of that exact time. It is a high noon, a question and answer panel with Power Ranger original David Yost right there. So, noon is the answer to that.
This is I love your story, David, because I think a lot of actors out there might be finding themselves near a role like that and think to themselves, I don't want to do this. And now here you are, like I said, 20-some years later, and it's still very much part of your professional career. It just goes to show you, you never know where the magic might happen, right?
It's so true. You never know. And you just can't predict things. If you watch the original pilot that we filmed, that is what we call the non-airing pilot, I mean, you watch that and you think, how is this show ever going to survive? And it did. It did for all these years. And again, I'm very humbled. I'm very blessed. I get to travel all over the world and meet fans of Power Rangers and hear how our characters and how the show influenced their life. And, it just never gets any better than that, because people are always giving me and my co-stars from the original cast so much love, and we never get tired of being loved.
People always love the originals. You get to travel the world and even to Canton, Ohio. Saturday, there it is, the big city. Dude, call Mom. It's time. You've made it. You have made it. Let her know. 20-some years in, you finally did it. You'll be on site at the 4th Annual Hall of Fame City Comic-Con. This is going down at the Canton Civic Center. Tickets still available at hofcitycomiccon.com. David, thanks for spending some time with us. We appreciate it, man. Can't wait to see you on Saturday.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your guys' time, and I'm so excited to be in Ohio.
Thanks, Dave.
Have a great day, man. Later.